It's an interesting phenomenon, don't you think, that you would think that science, people that are involved with science, especially medical professionals, would be humanitarian, they'd be altruistic, they'd be open-minded, and, they'd be open to new ideas, especially if they were science-based. I mean, that's what science is all about. Prove it, right? Well, it's not. As a matter of fact, it's exactly the opposite. Max Planck, a very famous physicist, a contemporary, I believe, of Einstein's, might have come a little later than Einstein, said that science progresses one funeral at a time, which means scientists are very dogmatic and they're entrenched in their beliefs, and they are some of the last people in the world to change their point of view. And also, from my point of view, MDs are ruthlessly hypocritical. Because with them, it's all about science, right? It's all about double-blind this and prove that, and you've got to have a placebo-controlled trial in order to know it's authentic, and I want to see the research, baby, otherwise you can kiss my you-know-what. That's what they're all about, right? At least that's what they tell you, that's what they're all about. And, we can't do any of this holistic stuff because it hasn't been proven. Well, guess what? It has. Everything, well, not everything, but the vast majority of therapeutics that myself and my colleagues advise people to do, we advise them to do it because it's been proven to be effective with research and clinical trials. That's why my profession exists. There's also something called the practice of medicine. And MDs are unbelievably hypocritical when it comes to this area. Because on the one hand, they'll tell you, don't go to see those naturopathic doctors, don't go to see those chiropractors, don't go to see those homeopaths, because they're just selling you snake oil that's been unproven to be effective, even though, A, that's a lie, and B, conservative estimates put off-label prescribing by MDs somewhere in the range of 40 to 65%, which means that 40 to 65% of the time, people go to MDs in the United States. The MD will recommend they take a drug that hasn't been approved by the FDA for that condition. So they'll give somebody a high blood pressure medicine for their anxiety. They'll give somebody an anxiety medicine to help them sleep. They'll give somebody a blood sugar medicine for their arthritic pain or whatever. And they do this because of something called the practice of medicine and clinical experience. Even though it hasn't been proven with $40 million of double-blinded, placebo-controlled trials by an independent third party that has no skin in the game, which, by the way, doesn't exist anywhere in medicine anymore, even though we're not going to do that, we're still going to see that by virtue of our clinical experience, this seems to be an appropriate therapy. They do that all of the time, and then they turn around and say, well, don't go to see those holistic people because when they do that, it's not okay, but we can do it. And they completely miss the fact that the vast majority of the stuff that we do is, in fact, science-based and clinically verified. Just do a PubMed search for, vitamin C. You'll pop up thousands of published articles that show you about vitamin C. Do a PubMed search for selenium. Thousands of articles pop up about selenium. There's an organization headed by a very famous scientist, Gerhard Schrauser, which gives an award every year. It's an international award for scientists all around the world who have breakthrough discoveries just for the mineral selenium. Just for selenium, for goodness sake. And yet, listening to your MD, he would have you believe that everything holistic is sham and not backed up by science, and then he turns around and gives you a high blood pressure medicine to help you sleep. It is 100% hypocritical. I don't know how these guys sleep at night, quite frankly. It blows my mind every time an MD opens their mouth, because how do you know an MD's lying? His mouth is open. Now, when we come back on the other side of the break, I'm going to tell you how you can save 10 years, how you can increase your lifespan by 5 to 10 years simply by stopping this one food.